Okay, today is lesson 3.6, seventh grade math, day 2. Today we're going to be working with converting in the metric system. There are conversions in the back of your book, but I will tell you, you do not have all of them. And so it's just easier to maybe come up with a saying that you can use to be able to remember the order of conversions. The metric system is all based on 10 and converting between powers of 10. So the saying that I use is King Henry dies by drinking chocolate milk. And that by is the base or the units. So that's where you would have like meters, liters, shut this down, and grams. Okay, and then your king stands for kilo, which is 1,000, so like kilometer. Then the H for Henry would stand for hecto. So hectometer is HM, and that would be 100 meters. Then you've got deca, D-E-K-A, abbreviated this way, DKM, and that would be 10 meters. Then you have for drinking, it would be deci or decimeter, so that's just DM. C for chocolate is centimeter, so CM. And then the M for milk would be MM, so millimeter. The way that I do this is I just say that saying and I write the first letter of each of the words that I say with the exception of the base. And then I go through and set up my little system there. Because conversion is all based on 10, it's the moving of a decimal and that's it. So instead of having to memorize that there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer, you can always go through and use this saying. Another saying is King Henry doesn't usually drink chocolate milk, I think is another one that maybe is used, and that doesn't usually stands for units. So once again, the meters, liters, grams. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're actually going to be working with converting. So I do want you to realize that as we work through, set my pen down, as we work through these, that although in this one I am working with milliliters to liters, wherever I have an M is the same as having an L, with the exception of this M here would remain still an M. But here I could just rewrite this one as KL for kiloliters, HL, DKL, DL, CL, and ML for milliliters. I don't like to have to go through and rewrite them all the time, so I tend to write up one set and then just remember that although I might be working liters or grams, as long as I have the meters there, I'm just using that front part to help me identify, and then I just have to remember that if it's the base part, that it might be an L, a G, or an M, just depending on what set I'm working with. Okay, so here, as I work through this, I'll go ahead, since I have this written up, I am going from milliliters. Now, I'm somebody that's visual, so I like to circle where I start. So I'm going to circle this, and I'm going to go to liters. So I'm going from milliliters to liters. There's my liters, or my single L by itself. So I'm going to work 1, 2, 3 places to the left. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with my decimal. So since it's not shown, it's actually sitting back here behind the last digit. And since I went 3 places to the left, and when I do my moves, I always go from the middle of a unit to the middle of a unit so that I don't accidentally go 1 too many or 1 too few, because that's usually the most common made mistake. Okay, so if I went 3 places to the left, I do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. My decimal is now going to be there. So my final answer would be 425. I'm going to leave those extra zeros off. And then the label would be liters because that's what they asked me to change it into. Okay, so it's basic move of a decimal. Okay, so let's try another one here. Like I said, the most common made mistake is moving 1 too many or 1 too few, or not knowing where the decimal is originally and starting in the wrong spot. Okay, so here I'm doing kilometers to millimeters. So I am starting here. Use a different color. I'm starting here, and I need to get to millimeters over here. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places to get to millimeters. So I'm going to do the same thing with my decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now my decimal's there. When I give my final answer, I do not leave all of those extra zeros in the front. The only time I leave zeros is if they're place markers or they're between a decimal and another number, then I have to leave them. Or if they're between two non-zero numbers. If they're at the very front, sitting in front of a decimal, or the very end of a decimal and not between two non-zero numbers, then I can go ahead and leave them off. So my final answer would be 0.0332 millimeters. Okay, and if I want to put 1 0 in front, that's okay. I tend to leave them off, but I know that that's usually how it'll appear maybe out of your book or on a standardized test is with that 0 in the front. Okay, so let's try another one. So here we've got centigrams to grams. So I don't have grams up here, so I'm just going to remember that wherever I have an M, a G could take that place. So, whoops, it looks like I erased part of my things here. Okay, so let's see. If I go centigrams, well, here's centimeters, same thing. So I'm going to start there, and I need to get to grams. So where there's just a plain G is right here. That would be just a plain M. So 1, 2 places to the left. So my decimal not shown means it's here. 1, 2. Notice I go same direction with my decimal as I did up above. That's the other mistake is kids will go the wrong direction. And I'm a visual person, so I do where I circle where I start and I underline where I need to end. So it helps me remember. The other thing that you can use is just to remember that when you get to your last spot, put an arrow at the end because then it's showing you, oh, I moved to the left, not to the right. So 2 places gives me 608. The final part was grams, so you get 608 grams. All right, so let's have you try one. So this time we're doing kilometers to centimeters. So go ahead and work your way through. If you just want to use off of your screen, that's okay. But the key thing is you do need to know that saying so that you can put that in order. That is something that I will assess, is having you put the metric system in order. So make sure that you do know how to put those in order. But if for right now you just want to use your screen and move your finger, you can do that. So we moved 5 places to the right. So 5 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, gave us 817 centimeters for a final answer. Okay, so try one more on your own. And once again, don't worry if I don't have meters, which I did still left it with meters and centimeters. So convert 0.000238 meters to centimeters. You should have gotten 0.0238 centimeters, going from meters to centimeters. So that's it for the metric system conversions. Once again, very easy process to convert in the metric system because it's all based on 10. Make sure that you've got one of those sayings down. I like the King Henry dies by drinking chocolate milk, but there are other sayings out there. You need to come up with how you can memorize the order of those, so that when you are assessed on them, you're able to do that without having to use a conversion chart on the back of your book. Good luck with this.